Belal Muhammad has done a series of interviews recently where he absolutely humiliated Kamaru Usman and called him out for his hypocrisy, because Kamaru Usman is complaining that Belal Muhammad will not fight Islam Makhachev, that Islam isn't going to move up and fight Belal. That's what Islam should do. But that's not it, because Belal Muhammad humiliated Sean Strickland. He humiliated Colby. He's just humiliating everyone. We're going to break it down, watch a bunch of different clips. Let's jump right into it because there's a lot to check out. Every single interview we watch in this video, every clip from every interview, I will link them down in the description so you can go check them out in their entirety. We're going to start off with Belal absolutely trashing Sean Strickland. The reason I like to highlight this is because Belal trash talks, but it's not really even trash talk. He just spits facts, and I absolutely love it. And for some reason, Belal gets hate when he's one of the smartest fighters on the roster. And every time I hear him talking about somebody in a negative light, it's nothing but facts. So we're going to check out this Strickland clip where Belal talks about Strickland. Then we're going to skip to the Pound for Pound podcast so you can hear what Usman had to say about Islam and Belal. And then we'll listen to Belal Muhammad's responses where he absolutely brutalizes and eviscerates Kamaru Usman. So let's listen to this first. Basically, Belal was asked, do you hope Strickland beats Strickis so you could go up potentially and fight Sean Strickland for a belt at some point in time? And Belal answers in a very crazy way, but then also spits a bunch of facts about Sean Strickland. Same thing I've been saying for a long time. Let's listen.
No, I don't hope he does it. I hope he loses, and I hope he gets knocked out and put unconscious and doesn't wake up.
Pause. That's insane. But I don't blame him. Strickland's a clown, a complete and utter clown. So I understand why Belal dislikes Sean Strickland. And also, Belal's like, yeah, no, I don't want him to win. But then also Belal says, I don't care. I'll fight him whether he's champion or not. Listen to this. And he spits so many facts about Strickland. It's something I've been saying for a long time.
But regardless, I would always still want to move up to fight him, whether he has the belt or not. That would always be a fight that I would say yes to.
Some of these tweets and the back and forths, Belal, would you say it's at a point where it's starting to get personal with Sean Strickland for you?
No.
So by the way, in case you missed it, this was like a week ago. This interview was from like a week ago. The other interviews we're going to look at are more recent. But Strickland, his typically being Strickland, saying whatever controversial stuff he can say online to get attention, and in particular, hating on people for their religion, hating on Muslims, saying Muslims don't belong in America, which, just makes him a complete piece of shit for judging people based on their religion, but that's besides the point. Belal perfectly analyzes what Sean Strickland does, and it's so obvious, but I'm so glad to hear somebody pointing it out in the MMA community.
It's personal. The guy's just an airhead. He's literally the definition of trailer trash. That's what he is. So when he says all this dumb stuff, people need to make him pay for it. Like there's just so many people nowadays, like I said, the Twitter people that are just happy to see it, right? And he knows it because he can't get attention other than saying dumb things. So he has to say stupid, wild stuff because nobody cares about him without it. It's kind of like a Colby Covington. Nobody cared about him before he started saying dumb stuff. So Strickland's trying to level it up even more so he could just have that wow factor because his fights suck. Like he always talks about, I'm going to kill this guy or we're going to go to war, and it's literally just a teep fest. So I think that he knows that he sucks, so that's why he goes out there and he says this dumb stuff.
Teep fest. Facts. We're going to go to war, brother. Brother, we're going to go to war. I'm going to bleed for you guys. And he goes out and jabs and teeps. But what I love that Belal points out here, and I've been saying it for years now, and it's just so nice to hear somebody else call it out. Sean Strickland is a right-wing grifter. He says ridiculous things that the highly obsessed right-wing political base will agree with because they'll get behind him. There's people so obsessed with politics, they look around and they're like, all right, who's espousing things that would align with some of my political beliefs? And those people get behind those people, get behind those fighters. In particular, Colby's done it, which Belal points out. Strickland does it. Now, in these particular cases, Sean Strickland says ridiculous stuff all the time that aligns with the highly obsessed right-wing political fan base they wouldn't watch Sean either, otherwise, because Sean's boring. He goes out there and pumps jabs and pumps teeps, and he lies beforehand and says, we're going to go to the death, guys. Then he cries on Theo Von's podcast, and he goes out there and jabs and teeps, and he begs DDP, please don't take me down. I don't want those childhood flashbacks. I don't want you to take me down and impose your will on me, DDP. What a baby. Asking DDP not to take him down. Does that remind you of anyone? Kevin Holland asked Rainer Day Ritter not to take him down. But I love that Belal points out that Sean Strickland would have no fans without the right-wing grift. It's just perfect analysis. Now we're going to listen to the Pound for Pound podcast, okay? I don't know what kind of sick, twisted individuals watch this on a daily basis, but this is what sets off the rest of the clips we're going to look at from Belal Muhammad's recent interviews that he did with MMA Fighting as well as MMA Junkie, which we're going to take a look at in this video. This is what started it all. This was from right after UFC 311. They're talking about Islam Makhachev going up and fighting Belal Muhammad, which Belal has said him and Islam are never going to fight. Islam said he would fight DDP instead of Belal, so on and so forth. Kamaru Usman doesn't like that. Kamaru Usman, the guy who hasn't won a fight since 2021, his last win was in 2021 against Colby Covington, doesn't like that Belal and Islam don't want to fight each other.
Yeah, I think if I was him, the decision that I would make next, 100%. I would definitely probably go up. This whole notion of a Balal training with them, they don't want to, bro. No, I'm going up there. I'm whipping him. I don't care. Just because he comes into our camp, just tries to use our bodies and learn our style. I'm moving up. I'm whipping him. I'm taking that belt, and hey, I'm moving on to the next.
Yeah, I'm going to point it out, even though Belal is going to. This is beyond dumb, considering Kamaru Usman was racking up wins at welterweight. He was fighting the same guys because there wasn't like the contenders there for him. People wanted him to fight Israel Adesanya at middleweight. And Kamaru Usman was like, no, we're both African, man. We don't even train together, but we're both African. So I would never try to go up and get a second belt. AK, he didn't think he could win a second belt, which he would never beat Israel Adesanya. Okay, that's probably really the reason he wasn't going to go up. But now he doesn't like Belal because Belal trashed him so bad on his podcast that he refuses to release the episode and made him cry, that he thinks the real thing here is Usman thinks Islam can beat Belal, so he wants Islam to go up there and beat Belal. Belal and Islam have actually trained together. Belal has been a part of the team. He's not a full-time member of the team. And they don't want to fight each other. It's not like Islam's clamoring for the fight. He does say he wants to be double champ, but he's not necessarily clamoring to fight Belal. And Usman said, yeah, man, he should go up. Meanwhile, Usman refused to fight Israel Adesanya when he could have had an opportunity for years, all because they're both African, okay? Massive hypocrisy, considering now he's crying because Islam and Belal don't want to fight each other. So let's skip ahead to Belal's interviews now. Now, the first thing we're going to take a look at, okay, he's not necessarily talking about this portion of the interview yet, and there's parts of it where he discusses it in this MMA Junkie interview. Again, I'll link it down in the description. We're actually going to skip over a little bit of it because we're going to hear it. It's kind of a little bit redundant in the MMA Fighting, so I want to give you guys all the best parts of every interview I show you. But the first thing I want to show you is why I love Belal Muhammad as a champion. People say, oh, Joey, you're biased for Muslim fighters and this and that. This is why I like Belal as a champion, because he was asked, how do you feel about like merit versus money fights? And listen to the answer from Belal, and then he shits on Kamaru Usman afterwards, which is perfect.
I think the money's going to come regardless, but for me, it's chasing like the GSP. I want to be the best welterweight to ever do it. Like, I don't want to be, when you're looking at resumes, I have probably one of the best resumes already. Like, I think my resume is better than Usman's. A lot of his title defenses were rematches against Colby, who we now know really does suck. And, he fought Colby twice, Masvidal twice, and then he fought Gilbert Burns. Like, I'm looking for the next toughest test. I'm looking for, all right, whoever's undefeated, this guy. Who's on a streak, this guy. I'd rather fight the toughest guys. So at the end of the day, when people look back at what I did, I beat everybody they said I couldn't beat. I beat everybody when I was still the underdog. I beat everybody that they said that it wasn't possible, and I go out there and I made it look easy.
How can you not love that? He wants the toughest challenges. The money will come either way. By the way, people are like, oh, Belal just got the belt. He never defended. Belal has literally one of the greatest welterweight resumes right now. It doesn't matter he didn't have title defenses. Because guess what? It took him longer to get to the belt because he wasn't given that opportunity. Look at the guys he's ran through. I'm not going to go through the list. And then he dominates Leon Edwards, drops him on his bald spot to win the belt against all odds. But look at what he did to get there. Gilbert Burns in the fight before that on like a couple weeks' notice. And look at the names on his resume and the times that he beat him. He's like 1 or 2 wins away. I honestly think he already has a better resume than Kamaru Usman. I'm not looking at him side by side right now, but off the top of my head, yeah, I think so. And I know Usman fought the guys that were there at the time, but Belal has a crazy good resume beating guys on streaks, and he's not here saying, oh, I only want money fights. No, he wants to fight the toughest guys, and he wants to establish himself as one of the greatest welterweights of all time. I love hearing that from Belal Muhammad. Now, the next clip we're going to take a look at is when he starts going after Usman. Now, we're going to skip through a little bit of it because a little bit is redundant from the MMA Fighting interview we're going to watch. But just listen to this. He starts going after Usman here.
And, he's not, when these guys are calling him out, he's acting like he's putting himself on his pedestal like he's still the champion, like they shouldn't be calling him out. But, bro, you're just a podcaster now. You haven't fought in over a year. And if you're not going to defend your ranking, then leave. Quit. You're on a 3-5 losing streak. You start looking at retirement now, or you're going to get on that, Tony Ferguson losing streak, and people are going to forget that you were ever champion. For me now, especially with the way that he said it, I was like, bro, you've never trained with Adesanya in your life, and you made it seem like you guys would never fight. And he also said it with Habib. He said, I would never fight Habib, and you never trained.
I mean, is that not all facts? Now, some of that is redundant from the MMA Fighting interview, which we're going to look at, but he goes more in depth on Kamaru Usman in the MMA Fighting interview. But he's calling out the hypocrisy of Kamaru Usman, who's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's still acting like he's champion. We're going to skip ahead and listen to a little bit more of this interview. Listen to this.
The guy's on a streak. When I beat Luque, he was on a 7-fight winning streak, and Luque weighed in as backup to them guys when they fought. He never gave him a shot. I was on a streak, and he acted like he didn't know who I was. So we seen it when he had his first tough title defense against Leon Edwards. He got knocked out, and then he lost again to him. He was never a guy that chased the toughest test. So it's funny that he's coming out now saying, oh, yeah, these guys, they act like they train together. No, they should be fighting each other. And it's like, bro, are you still the welterweight? Are you still trying to chase the title? Do you think you still have a chance? Why don't you throw your name in the mix?
Exactly, but he doesn't want to. Kamaru Usman doesn't want to fight any of the top guys. He doesn't want to fight any of the top guys. He complained recently. I don't have the clip. But he was like, man, why are all these guys calling me out? Basically, you want to squat on your ranking is what Kamaru Usman wants to do. And then Belal was asked, what does Kamaru Usman have to do to get a title fight? And listen to this. I actually like this answer.
Through that sort of thing.
Usman? I just need Usman to get a win. He sucks so bad right now. It's just embarrassing. Where I just feel bad for him. He goes out there. You have to fight, obviously, somebody on the streak. I think Buckley called him out. Buckley's been killing it at 170. He just made Colby look like a rookie. I think he goes out there and he figures out a way to beat him. I know they were offered him JDM, but he turned it down because he's a coward. So I think now for him, he's just waiting on the sidelines, trying to have that Conor McGregor mentality of just whenever a welterweight fight happens, just tweeting out, just so he gets attention or gets into headlines because people are forgetting about him. But yeah, he has to fight somebody on a streak and he has to beat them to even be considered get a shot at this title.
Earn your shot, Usman. Usman is sitting on the sidelines, tweeting and talking about the welterweight division like he's still close to a title shot when he has not won a fight since 2021. That's insanity. 3-fight losing streak. I understand it's not the worst 3-fight losing streak. Fluke KO by Leon Edwards, loses razor close decision Leon Edwards, short notice fight against Khamzat Chimaev. But at the end of the day, the fact remains, it's almost been 4 years since your last win. You're basically Steve Miocic. And he's talking about Belal. Meanwhile, he won't even fight any of these up-and-coming contenders. Let's jump ahead to the MMA Fighting interview. First clip I'm going to play for you. Here's a bit of news. When is Belal going to return? I figured I'd include this. When is Belal going to return?
Yeah, for me, it's May, June. I think that works perfectly where you're getting right after Ramadan. And it also gives me that timeline where I could also get a couple more fights in before the end of the year. For me, like I said, I want to be an active champion. So if we get that one in May, June, we get another one in October, then again before the end of the year. So yeah, for me, it's just trying to stay busy. And
May, June, wants to stay busy. Wants to fight 3 times this year. How do people dislike Belal? I truly don't get it. Dude wants to stay active. He's returning after an injury. He was going to fight Shavkat in December. And he wants to stay active and fight 3 times this year. And guess what? There's a bunch of contenders making their way to the top of the welterweight division right now. The division is so fun right now. And it seems like welterweight was stuck in neutral while Leon Edwards was champion for 2 years. And now Belal's making welterweight great again, something Colby Covington could never do. Let's skip ahead. Here's where he's asked about the Kamaru Usman hypocrisy, crying about how, oh, Belal won't fight Islam. Belal perfectly calls out Usman for the hypocrisy here. I showed you a little bit of this in the last interview from MMA Junkie. Again, I will link this down in the description. I encourage you to go check them out in their entirety.
That's exactly what it was. They never trained together, but he said, I'll never fight Israel. He also said he'll never fight Habib. And I'm like, bro, you never trained with him before. But that's the thing. When Kamaru was champion, he wasn't looking for test. He was a coward champion. He was the champion that, oh, let me get the rematch with, Colby, who sucks, or let me get the rematch with Masvidal. And it's like
Colby catching a shot there, but Colby does suck. He's got nothing but participation trophies. Oh, he had a close fight with Kamaru Usman. He's so good. Yeah, keep riding those coattails for another 10 years, Colby.
His reign was rematches. He never wanted to fight the next best guy. He never wanted to fight the guy on the hot streak. He avoided those guys, avoided those tough tests. He was like I said, the coward champion. He wasn't looking for the toughest tests. He wasn't that guy. So when he says, oh, man, these guys, they train together. Yeah, let's get rid of that notion. Like, bro, shut up. You've never been in a room with Adesanya or worked out with it or sweated with Adesanya in your life. And you made it seem like you'll never fight him ever because he's your brother. But this guy's a podcaster now, right? That's what he is. He's not a fighter. And it also, too, it's like, you're number 2 in the division. Do you not want to get your name back in the mix by...
Exactly. Take a fight. I mean, this is a perfect assessment. Now, the thing about Usman not taking the toughest fights in the division, it's not like Usman was ducking people. The division, there were certain kind of things going on within the division, and sometimes there wasn't like a fresh contender necessarily. But at the end of the day, most of Belal's analysis here is perfectly accurate. Like, dude, go win a fight. You refused to fight Adesanya for years. You had the opportunity where the division, there wasn't like that surging contender. People had an appetite for it. And you said, no, I'm not fighting Izzy. I won't fight Izzy because he's African. You guys didn't even train together, and you refused to fight him. Now you're crying because Belal doesn't want to fight Islam. When Belal just won the belt and he has a bunch of contenders to defend against, and he wants to fight the toughest challenges. Perfect assessment by Belal.
Fighting one of these tough guys? No, because like I said, he doesn't want to take these tough fights. He doesn't want to take these tough tests. He'll fight the Hamzat on 1 week notice because now he has that excuse built up. If he loses, like, oh, at least I took him on 1 week notice, and nobody else would do that. But it was a close fight, so I'm proud to be in a close loss.
Dude, Usman's participation trophy for the Hamzat Chimaev fight. This is why Kamaru Usman refuses to release the podcast. Belal went on his podcast. Usman refuses to release it. It's because Belal, even though I haven't seen the podcast, this is pure speculation on my part. Belal Muhammad verbally victimized Kamaru Usman. I would bet my life. Usman, dumb as a box of rocks. Belal, one of the smarter fighters on the roster, and has the facts on his side. That's what I love about Belal. He's spitting facts right now. Go fight a contender, dude. Go fight a contender. You refuse to fight Izzy. Perfect for pointing out the hypocrisy of Kamaru Usman. And he goes on more here.
I hate guys like that are proud of close losses. Like, you lost, bro. You're on a 3
Shout out Colby Covington, Mr. Participation Trophy.
fight losing streak. You're on your way up. You're closer to the Tony Ferguson streak than you are closer to being back in the title mix. So, yeah, pretty soon people that had you on that list of top welterweights, you're going to be on that list full of forgotten welterweights if you just stay on the sidelines and just keep trying to, be this podcaster that you suck at.
By the way, I wish Damon Martin would fix his mic. All the comments are just saying, man, get away from your mic. All he has to do is move a little bit further away or get a new mic if that's the issue. He's literally got his lips pressed up against the mic, and the audio is atrocious, man. It makes me sad because this is a good interview. I watched this entire interview, and every time he talked, it seemed like it's improved a little bit, but every time he talked, it's just like, oh my God. I don't want to audio is so important. It's so important. I don't know what the reason why he wants half his face covered by the mic. I know everyone's not as good looking as me, being a true alpha male, tall, dark, handsome, beautiful, luscious black beard. But come on, we have to fix the audio. Please, Damon Martin. Just do something. Move a little bit further away. Get some type of mount. It can still cover your face if that's what you want. But please fix the audio. You sound like Bane. Anyway, a couple more clips we're going to take a look at where he absolutely eviscerates Kamaru Usman. Listen to this.
They're just, everybody's looking for that notion just to hate on me, right? They're looking for that notion just to be like, because they don't want me to be this champion. They want to make it seem like I don't belong, right? But I went out.
People like Kamaru Usman and Leon acted like they didn't even know Belal Muhammad's name. He went in there against Leon. Leon's like, oh, Belal, who's the name? Forget the name or whatever. I forgot whatever corny joke he made on the MMA Hour while Ariel Helwani touched himself to it. And then Belal went out there and embarrassed Leon. Embarrassed him. Leon didn't want to give him the time of day. He big-timed him. He didn't even want to give him the title shot that he rightfully earned after Leon was in the same situation where he wasn't getting the title shot that he rightfully earned. And Belal points that out as well.
Out there and I just dominated the guy that beat you twice, Usman. Leon killed you. He knocked you out, put you out cold, and then dominated you. And I went out there and dominated him, and I made it look easy. So
all facts, dumped him on his bald spot, might I add. I need Belal to say dumped him on his bald spot in an interview because he truly did dump him on his bald spot. I need to hear that in a Belal interview at some point. We need to get Belal on the channel, and I need to hear him say that.
You acting like, I got lucky or I got this. Nah, bro. We're not on the same path. We're not on the same level. I'm going to surpass you as the welterweight GOAT. I'm going to be higher on that list than you ever were. And his ego's so big that he can't get over it. He keeps talking about himself like he's the king of the division, but he needs to realize that there's a new king. Yeah, your name's erased off the list. You're not at the top of the mountain no more. You're on your way down.
You know what's funny? And maybe people don't pick up on this necessarily because they look at it as trash talk. When Kamaru sees these clips, I genuinely believe they hurt his feelings. Like, dude, you're not at the top anymore. You're on a 3-fight losing streak. You haven't won a fight in 4 years. You're a podcaster now. I think that Usman has an ego for sure. Okay, he sits around, he talks like he's telling campfire scary stories. He has an ego. And this isn't Colby saying some weirdo, bizarre trash talk. Belal is spitting facts. He is spitting nothing but facts. I dominated the guy you lost twice to. I dumped him on his bald spot. And you're talking about me? This is facts, and I wish Belal would have said this too. And there's more we're going to look at. But Usman doesn't even have the right to have Belal's name in his mouth at this point in time. Like, you should just keep Belal's name out of your mouth. I know you run a podcast. You're in the welterweight division, supposedly. But he has no right to even speak on Belal. Next couple clips. We have 2 more clips we're going to take a look at. And one of them he actually trashes Colby a little bit more. But let's listen. Listen to this. He's asked about Jack versus Leon. Jack Della Maddalena versus Leon Edwards. And then uses that as an opportunity to segue to crapping on Usman again. Listen to this.
For Usman, it's like you just got called out by Buckley. You got called out by Ian. You got called out by all these guys. And then he's playing all these losers keep calling me out. Why you guys keep calling me out for? Don't worry about me when I'm healthy, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, you've been out over a year. Like, if your knees are gone, your knees are gone. Like, they're not going to get any better. You're not going to just randomly grow cartilage. Like, either defend your ranking or get out of the rankings, because there's hungry guys, hungry contenders that are right there. But I think he just wants to be a podcaster, right? He wants to be that guy that kind of like a McGregor, where he stays in the mix just by saying stupid stuff and hoping that it gets headlines. Like, they're not going to be the guys that fight. They're not going to be the guys that want the next hungry guys anymore. So he's just going to be tweeting dumb stuff and saying dumb stuff. But then you're going to get a reaction from me, and you're going to look even dumber because then you're going to go silent because I'm going to have to treat you on there.
Because he's going to embarrass him with facts. There's no rebut to what Belal's saying. Usman can't have a comeback to what Belal's saying because he's speaking nothing but facts. Usman is a former champion. You look at his 3-fight losing streak, you add a little bit of context. Like Belal said in the other interview, if Usman went out and fought like a Jack Della Maddalena or an Ian Machado Gary or a Joaquin Buckley, and he won impressively because of the fact that he was a former champion, he would be razor close to a title shot. I think he needs to get at least 2 wins, in my personal opinion. But I understand if he were to beat one top guy, he's right back in the mix. But he doesn't want to do that. He'd rather sit on the sidelines and just bark on his podcast and try to stay relevant, the Conor McGregor route, which I think all fighters while they're still active, especially their social media presence is elevated off of that, even though Usman's not necessarily active, but he's still a quote-unquote active UFC fighter. He's on the roster and supposedly will fight sometime this year if he doesn't retire. But I think as they go away, their social media relevance goes away as well. And I believe that'll happen to Usman and Cejudo once they're actually formally retired from the UFC. Last clip we're going to take a look at is him. He was asked about Joaquin Buckley as a contender, and he uses it as an opportunity to just clown Colby. This clip isn't particularly like crazy. Obviously, he already destroyed Usman, but it's always good to see Belal dunk on Colby. Belal did in one try, one deserved try, what Colby could not do in 3 tries, 2 of them undeserved. And the last one that he got, he went out there and absolutely shit the bed and refused to fight. So love to hear Belal calling out Colby for being a bum.
Like, he's looked great since coming down to welterweight. And, yeah, when he dominated Kobe, he made it look easy. And like you said, like, the worst thing that happened in that fight was the fact that the doctor stopped it. So Kobe has that big excuses saying that, oh, I was just getting warmed up. I was just getting started. But as he's scratching his face, trying to get the cut worse in between rounds, I'm looking at this guy like, is he scratching at himself?
I'm glad that Belal pointed that out, and that's why I wanted to include this in this video. The Vaseline was holding the cut shut, and there wasn't blood coming out in between rounds. Colby started pulling at the Vaseline. You could say, oh, the cut was bothering him. I think he wanted the doctor to stop it. I think Colby wanted the doctor to step in so he would have an excuse for getting ran through by Joaquin Buckley. We know Colby likes getting ran through by black dudes in the welterweight division, but he wanted an excuse. He wanted to blame the doctor. He wanted to say, I was just getting warmed up. But he was literally, I remember watching the fight in between rounds. He's pulling at the cut, praying that it gets worse, praying that the doctor would step in and save him against Joaquin Buckley. And I was so happy to see Belal Muhammad talk about that because I haven't seen really anyone point that out. But yeah, Belal destroys Sean Strickland, embarrasses Kamaru Usman, points out the hypocrisy, and we end it with him humiliating Colby Covington again as well. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. And you guys know what a 4570 is? If you don't know, go watch my last video. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.